They say money talks, but at the billionaire level, money moves. Cities. Billionaires want very specific features from the cities they live in. Over time, these priorities have shifted, and with them, the map of the billionaire world has redrawn itself again and again. So, in this video, we're breaking down all the things that billionaires value most from where they live, how those features have changed over time, and why certain cities rise and fall as billionaire capitals. Which city has refused to give up the crown? Which ones could be billionaire magnets? By 2050? Stick around. We're unpacking all of that today. Welcome to Luxvara, the place where future billionaires come to get inspired. All right, so every billionaire capital so far has faced a cycle: rise, saturation, then pushback or decline. So to understand why this happens and what it says about the future of billionaire capitals, we have to look at how and when all of this billionaire talk even started. And it's actually a pretty short trip down history lane. Okay, so let's dive into the history of billionaires. Billionaires. Now, billionaires are a very modern concept, right? We've had rich people around for all of human history, but the idea of calculating wealth in terms of money and a defined number total is pretty new. Instead, we used to count wealth in terms of land, status, and titles. So, there probably were billionaires in terms of the vast difference in wealth between the richest and the poorest, but they didn't exist in pure dollar terms. The modern billionaire era really began in 1916 with John D. Rockefeller. He's the first recorded dollar billionaire in our history books, and his wealth was mainly based in the US, especially in New York. And a little later on, we'll go through why this started in New York. At the time, there weren't enough billionaires, and there definitely wasn't any formal list to crown a city as a billionaire capital. But Rockefeller's money made people see Manhattan as the world's center of private wealth before anyone started counting where the most ultra-rich people were living. Forbes launched their billionaire list many decades later in 1987, and their first count tallied 140 billionaires worldwide. The U.S. dominated this list. And since all the finance, media, and big corporate empires were based in New York, we could deduce that this is where the most wealthy individuals were living life. And wealth continued to pick up in New York. And the more the wealth in the city grew, the more wealthy people it drew in. Now, switching gears here. In the late 1980s and early 1990s, Japan had an asset bubble that was created by their reserve bank interest rates and the real estate industry. The bubble made a few people very rich very quickly, and everyone wanted to get in on the action. So they invested their money in the country. And with that, the world's richest person title swung to Japanese magnates like Yoshiaki Tsutsumi and Taiki Kairoi. And then the bubble burst, and everyone who had invested lost whatever they'd put in. The quick back and forth shift was brutal for the people who lost their money. But it showed us the most important feature that a billionaire wants from their city. For their wealth to be able to grow, they'll move where wealth is flourishing and run away from the places where it's being stifled, and some other features they want. Wealth wants to be safe, and it wants to be seen. These three requirements form the basis of any billionaire capital. What the city offers might change over time, but as long as it check marks the growth, protection, and visibility of wealth, the rich will flock there. But what are these features? And how do they check mark all of these requirements? Well, the features of a billionaire capital. Let's take a look at the features of a billionaire capital. So the main feature always is that wealth needs to be able to grow. Wealth doesn't grow the same way everywhere or in every era. It follows the opportunities over time. In the early 1900s, that meant factories, railroads, and shipping ports. By the late 1900s, that money came from banks, real estate, and global trade. So, billionaires stayed in New York, London, and Hong Kong. In the 2000s, tech took over innovation hubs with top engineers, investors, and schools like Stanford made places like San Francisco, Palo Alto, Shenzhen, and Beijing the new billionaire centers. The pattern is Pretty simple. Where the money is made decides where the money lives. Wealth grows by staying close to the industries, people, and systems driving it at that moment in time. Spotting these patterns is what makes people rich. And sometimes you need a little bit of help and push to see where they start and lead. Every day we send you a lesson on finance, wealth, building, communication, even making money or making your relationships better. And all of these things can help to elevate your life. And if you want to focus on one specific topic, then you'll love our collections. The next requirement for a billionaire capital is for wealth to be protected. So once billionaires make their money, they want to keep it safe and easy to manage. In the 1990s and early 2000s, tax-friendly systems shaped where the rich lived. London had the non-dom system, short for non-domiciled, which allowed foreigners to avoid paying UK taxes on money earned overseas. Monaco went even further with zero income tax, making it a go-to base for anyone with serious wealth. At one point, billionaire accounts spiked in Moscow and Beijing. But because of those fortunes were tied to politics, it made them pretty fragile. So as soon as they can, rich people in certain places move their money to cities where they know they'll be protected. That's why you'll see so many Russian and Chinese billionaires buying up property in London, Monaco, or Singapore. It's safer for them to store their wealth there than in their own countries. New York and London might have high taxes, but they've got predictable courts that protect contracts and property. It's a much safer store of wealth. And, truthfully, if they don't really want to pay the high taxes but still have their money protected, they can split their time between New York for finance, Dubai for tax-free living, and Singapore for quick access to Asia's markets. And some people might argue with the next feature, which is for wealth to be seen. Some billionaires are very vocal with their fortunes. In fact, part of it is built on their reputation. But the majority are really quiet and try to hide their wealth as much as possible. They still want visibility, but not to the masses. They want other rich people to see their fortunes. Paris and London deliver that better than anywhere else. Paris has the fashion houses, the art, the restaurants where power gathers. London has the private clubs and neighborhoods where billionaires meet other billionaires. These places give the wealthy access. The right dinner, the right gallery opening, the right seat at the table puts them next to the people who shape industries, culture, and capital in the same place. That's what makes these cities impossible to ignore. Now, this next one, the majority of the world would probably put it first, and that's why they're not billionaires. For wealth to be felt. Now, of course, billionaires want to live in the perfect cities, right? The ones with the best climate, schools, transportation, safety levels. But that actually lies slightly lower on their priority list. It's still there, though, and they feel the wealth most in the freedom it brings, which is exactly what they look for in a city. They want to be able to move as easily as their wealth does. So they want cities with world-class airports, private jet access, and flexible visa systems. Dubai, Singapore, and Zurich have nailed the freedom privacy formula. So it's only natural that they would attract so much billionaire traffic. And then once they've got all the other features, they think about things like clean air, gated communities, top schools for their children. That's why so many still live in Los Angeles or Miami, even while keeping business ties with New York. Once they've got enough land in these cities, they can build whatever other features they want their own compounds to have. You can zoom in further and see how they cluster in certain neighborhoods because it gives them symbolic capital. There's Fifth Avenue in New York, the Peak in Hong Kong, Kensington in London, and Palm Jumeirah or the Recourse in Dubai. So many of these places don't have much living space for what you're paying, but you're paying for the status symbol, not the square footage. Owning property here lets people know that you're a part of the billionaire club, and it gives you even more credibility. It's like a corporate CEO title in the business world. All the future of billionaire capitals. Right, now let's talk about the future of billionaire capitals, okay? Because billionaires, they've always clustered in key hubs. From New York penthouses to Silicon Valley compounds, the map of billionaire wealth reflects the industries shaping the world. Tokyo's boom faded. Moscow's fortunes shrank. Under sanctions, Hong Kong lost ground as Beijing tightened control. So far, only New York is the outlier that manages to reinvent itself with every cycle, even when Moscow or Beijing briefly overtook New York in raw billionaire headcount. New York never lost its power. Not only do they have Wall Street and the legal protections, they also have the art, media, and philanthropy world. That's so much harder to build than a market or a law that grows and protects wealth. The museums, universities, and theaters that make New York so unique takes decades of work from top talent. Then billionaires can come in and legitimize their wealth and legacy with naming rights, which is expensive but ultimately kind of priceless. Now, will things stay like this forever? Well, let's see where we're heading next. Okay, who will hold the crown in 2050? It could be Mumbai, Dubai, or Singapore. They're all growing pretty quickly. They've got the growth and protection factor down, and they're building the Michelin star dining, global arts fairs, luxury retail, and yacht marina features. All top social systems where billionaires meet, deal with, and influence each other. Mumbai's recent climb shows how billionaire maps follow national economic takeoffs. India's economy is exploding right now because it has a huge young population and strong technology and service sectors. More people are entering the workforce every year, driving demand for housing, energy, and consumer goods. Technology and digital services like IT, outsourcing, and fintech bring in billions from global clients. The government is also investing in infrastructure, manufacturing, and trade, making it easier for businesses to grow. As the economy expands, more companies scale up, and that growth creates more billionaires, especially in financial and industrial hubs like Mumbai. Big companies like Reliance, Tata, and Adani keep billionaire wealth centered in the city. The biggest change we'll see in the next few years is where the wealth is made. Right now, it's concentrated in Silicon Valley and especially in America. But Beijing and Mumbai are catching up. Many of the newer billionaires there still move their money to American markets because it's so profitable and prestigious. But if there's a wobble there that threatens their fortunes, then they'll flee. And where will they go next? Brexit has ruled London out as a safe market. And the next move is to look at the governments who are willing to go the extra mile to protect wealth and to make investing easier. Singapore did that with their investor visa. But there's one place that tops every other one in this area, and that is Dubai. There's no income tax or capital gains tax, and its legal and banking systems are designed to be business-friendly. So setting up a company, buying property, and moving money there is easier than any other place. It's also politically stable, and it's between Europe and Asia and Africa, so there's quick access to major markets. The one major downside is that Dubai is better for protecting wealth than it is for growing it, and growth is like requirement number one. There are many potential capital cities, but truthfully, it doesn't look like any one place will ever dominate again. These days, flexibility and freedom matters more than anything. Billionaires keep multiple bases, and it doesn't look like that's going to stop anytime soon. There's such a mix of priorities that it sends people in different directions. New York is the place where finance, courts, and culture converge. Dubai and Singapore are rising because they offer tax efficiency, mobility, and lifestyle in one package. London remains important, though Brexit has dented some of its appeal. Hong Kong is in flux due to politics but remains strong for China-linked wealth. Miami and Los Angeles attract lifestyle billionaires who want U.S. access without the intensity of New York. And I mean, why have one home when you're rich enough to have multiple places that give you different benefits anyway? Billionaires can choose if they want to focus on financial power, tax efficiency, or lifestyle standards, and they can move around depending on their mood for the day. It's easier to split residences and take advantage of all of the perks, even if It protects your wealth better to not be tied down to a single place. It really is a toss-up of locations. You've got many options if your plan and goal is to be a billionaire. If you're still on your way, though, then it's probably a good idea to think about the cost of living in these cities. An influx of billionaires always drives up the housing costs, and we've seen that social inequality follows wherever they cluster. All right, Alexer, that's all from us today. Let us know in the comments which billionaire city would you live in and why. We'll see you back here next time.